I were 25, I would have loved Zohran Mamdani. When I was 26, I loved AOC. And then I just explained my anecdote on this that I think really like hammers it home is that these well-meaning leftist policies really are the road to hell is paved with good intentions and end up creating the problem that they're trying to avoid. I think he's going to win because I think he has all the energy. He has the right smile. And he's a Nepo baby, to be like clear. You know that, right? There was a shooting in New York yesterday.
Yeah.
And he commented on it and someone's like, wow, I'm really glad you're, after all your years of defunding the police and you're commenting behind armed guards in Uganda on this devastation that happened. Like, why don't you have social workers guarding your wedding?
Right.
Like,
yeah,
he's just such a hypocrite. And
he is such a hypocrite. And he's talked about, you know, how difficult it is to be an immigrant and all of that stuff. But both of his parents, extremely well off, successful, elite, sophisticated circles of American society that most of us will never get to enter. That is where he comes from. And I'm not even saying that's bad.
No,
but,
exactly.
You know, I'm saying own it. Don't post a video of yourself eating like whatever it is with your hands, which is disgusting, by the way. So many reasons why that's wrong. But to try to
not pandering to the third world. Has anybody just called that out for what that was? He was pandering to the third world, eating a Chipotle meal with his hands. But anyway, we're going to let these young ladies continue and finish this off. And then you know what we're about to do. You know exactly what we are about to do.
Cosplay as an oppressed poor person.
It annoys me so much. And I think the thing is, I try to say this because people on my account, they're like, you don't care anymore. You've given up. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I actually do care. We all want the same things, right? We want to see less inequality. We want to see less poverty. I want to see more people able to live the American dream and prosper and flourish and follow their dreams. I just think that the way we get there is different than what the snake oil salesman that's Mamdani is. There's like so much misunderstanding, I think, from the groupthink that I left, where they project onto me like, well, you don't care because you're not pushing socialism. And I'm like, no, I do care, but socialism doesn't work. It makes people's lives worse.
She does care. That's why she's pushing against socialism. Good Lord, I was about to go down that woke rabbit hole myself. The reason she does not believe in a system like socialism where your government is responsible for taking care of you like mommy and daddy, and they own everything and you essentially own nothing, really, is because it doesn't work. It's a terrible system and it always leads to abject poverty on scale.
And so that's another thing I'm trying to speak out and be like, guys, we all want the same things. Yeah. But we're just thinking we get there a different way.
You know, the most devoted socialist and so-called communist I've met in my life have been the most privileged of individuals. It's always been white liberals. I've never met a poor black, like a genuine poor black or poor Hispanic who's grinding and looking to make their way, out of poverty, who claim to be a socialist or communist. Not once in my life. But I have met a multitude of self-labeled, self-acclaimed socialists and communists that live in $1 million+ homes somewhere in Northern California, went to the best schools, right? $15,000 to $30,000 a year tuition schools, and are now going to $60,000 a year university. Those are the people I know. Now, I wanted to get into this because, we can't just leave the Mamdani situation alone. As much as we may love to, just because of the simple fact of, this guy probably gets on your last damn nerve and you know how fake and fabricated he is. But I think it's important for us to understand why it is that he is resonating in the way that he is. And I don't know if I've necessarily gone down that path necessarily specifically. I've called out actual contradictions, things he has said that are going to lead to terrible outcomes, such as, eradicate police forces and have social workers be the police instead. While, hypocritically, he has armed guards at his wedding, as a young lady said in that video. But anyway, I want to go down this path of why he resonates, why he appeals, who he appeals to. Now, I recently read a post on X. What's her name? She's on point. She is on point on damn near everything I've heard her say. I think it's Eliza Elbon or Lebon. Something like that. Please correct me in the comment section, but you know who I'm talking about. And she said in this post, when you're 20 years old, to be socialist is to be caring. When you're 30 years old, to be socialist is to be stupid. right? You're supposed to grow out of this childlike, infantilized perception of the world where we all come together in kumbaya, everything is for free, right? These sort of Bernie Sanders ideas that are being perpetuated in the mainstream of, well, if we just made everything free and also got rid of the billionaires, everything would be amazing. Well, in the real world, those billionaires and millionaires, and frankly, those in the 1%, which I believe is the ones making 400,000 plus a year, they're paying 41 to 46% of your taxes. So you've been sold this idea by these governments who look to have more and more control, which is what a socialist regime does, Marxist regime, call them what they actually are. You've been sold this idea that it's the rich people, right? It's the billionaires that are the reason why you are where you are. But then in the same breath, you cry about not having enough jobs or not having enough housing, etc. Who do you think is going to build those things? Who do you think is supplying those things? Because when the government says that they're going to pay for something or build something, what they mean is they're going to use your money in order to build the thing, right? They're going to use somebody's money. So they're going to need the billionaire's money whilst, basically shitting all over the billionaire. Look at those evil rich bastards while using their money to, fly first class or in private jets while you go around and spread the gospel of the oligarchy. This is real life, by the way. AOC and Bernie Sanders are on tour around America, spreading the word about the rich oligarchy, the billionaires who control America, right? He used to talk about the millionaires, but now that he is one, he likes to refer only to the billionaire class, claiming that they are essentially the reason why we have all these problems in our country, as he uses hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to campaign, money that has come up out of yours and I pocket, as well as the billionaires and millionaires pocket. Anyway, Mamdani serves a purpose, and that purpose is to coddle the childlike, the naive, dare I say, Peter Pan-esque mind. And all of us have that to some extent. Like all of us have that part of us that doesn't want full responsibility, that wishes we didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? All of us have that part of us that just, even if it's just a little bit, it's like, I don't want everything to be on my hands and my plate. And so for some people, it's financial, right? It's like they'll blame the system for where they are financially because they don't want to take full responsibility of their own financial outcomes in life. It's the system, it's the banking system, it's the government, it's my ex, it's, whoever else it may be, or the lack of a partner, the lack of a government, whatever, right? So in comes the solution of, well, do you know that it's capitalism? Do you know that it is the current system we're living under? That's the reason why you're impoverished. It has nothing to do with the decisions that you have made in and of yourself. You have no decision to make when the capitalist is getting rich off of your back. Now, never mind the fact that you are ordering Amazon packages on a weekly basis, putting more money into this capitalist pocket. But, that idea appeals to a certain childlike aspect of us. And so we buy into it and, we start to rationalize it and it sounds good. And then all of a sudden you find yourself electing the likes of a Fidel Castro and his minions such as Che Guevara. And these guys end up essentially making the country that they thought was terrible because of, Western ideals, capital ideals or capitalistic ideals. They institute their Marxist ideals and the place becomes an actual hole. Actual. As a matter of fact, I recently heard the story that when Che Guevara finally got into a position of power under Fidel Castro, he wanted to turn Cuba into a industrial nation, which is ironic because that's a very capitalist sort of mentality, right? We want to go from this agrarian culture into an industrial culture, which I believe, again, that's, you uplift a lot of people from poverty in that way, become the manufacturer of the goods so you can, have your own goods made at home as well as exporting instead of always having to import everything on these, crazy taxed sort of products, if you have tariffs and things of that nature that are implemented. Anyway, Che Guevara, on his conquest to industrialize Cuba, realizes that he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, along with all his buddies, right? He's the only one who had really this education, grew up in a sort of middle class, dare I say would be elitist sort of class. Again, very well educated, was actually going to be, I believe, a doctor when he grew up. I know. Yeah. Anyway. So it's an exact alignment with the likes of the Zohran Mamdanis, right? Raised by millionaires and goes to the best schools, etc. It's basically a parallel. Anyway, he figured out fast that you're going to need money. Who has money? Nobody here necessarily, right? You're going to need expertise. Where are the expertise? Well, nobody here has been incentivized to actually build those expertise because there's no money. So the whole capital part, we needed that in order to actually build what we want to build. Long story short, he builds absolutely devastating, infrastructure and these sort of factories that are just the jankiest stuff you could imagine. In the same way, these grocery stores, these government assisted or government supplied grocery stores that Mamdani claims to be, going to create out of this fund that actually doesn't exist. It's a whole different story. There's already been an example of that, and it's been an absolute failure. You have empty grocery stores. Communism, like a meal in communism, is starvation. You catch what I'm throwing? That's what communism does. And socialism is nothing more than a door to communism. They like to separate the two as if they're so different. And then they want to ascribe socialism to a lot of these European nations, etc. And it's like, if you look at pure socialist nations, it's not Switzerland. You get what I'm saying? You can easily point to them and be like, well, they have social programs. They have social reforms. They have welfare, I guess you would say. But look at the actual operating system of the place. It's a free market. It's free trade. It's capitalistic as capitalistic gets. Mamdani's theories are not new. They're regurgitated and repackaged for an audience who feels as if they have been given the short end of the stick. A generation that is infantilized, that is resonating with that victim narrative. And so it sells. That's why that young lady who leaves with logic, her friends who are still hyper emotionalized, they believe she's a traitor. She doesn't care anymore. She lacks empathy. And that's how it's always been sold. Do you care about the people? Fidel Castro, do you care about the people? Viva le Cuba. Like, do you care about the people? This is about the people. But then who ends up getting rich off of these systems? Anybody but the people. Everybody but the common man. It is the politician who pockets the money. And as their country depreciates in value, as their country goes to waste, they ask the rest of the world, please give us money. And that money also goes in their pockets. The system does not work, period. It is a flawed idea. It is unfounded in reality, ungrounded in reality. But Mamdani is the perfect salesman for it. Because so long as you sell it from this concept or this position of altruism, when you sell it from a position of kindness, empathy, compassion for the people, you delve into the heartstrings of people, including the people who, again, most of the people I have encountered that are quote unquote communists come from the best to do families. You appeal to those people because they want to be part of the compassionate group. And then, of course, the poor people. Well, this guy says he's going to give us free stuff. Why not? Everybody loses in that situation. Everybody. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. leave a little something there or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace. Aquarius. Where?
I've been up for hours, I've been up for days, you. Staring at the ceiling, I've been counting strays, you. I've been in my feelings, I've been out of mind. I've been getting visions of the other kind. I've been up for weeks. I'm in the count of blessings over count of sheep. I can never be the type to limit when it comes to me. I used to be the pleaser for the people I ain't even need.